Last Sunday's gospel reading was difficult to hear because Jesus, whom we commonly understand as the Prince of Peace, declared that he came not to bring peace, but division. Jesus did not start a new denomination, but a movement to reform Judaism, a movement that would later be known as the Way, and eventually a separate faith tradition, separate of Judaism, known as Christianity. But he himself lived and died a Jew, practicing and upholding rituals and maintaining ties with the religious tradition to which he belonged. Despite the challenging features and difficult personalities, he preferred to initiate change as a devoted insider rather than as an impatient outsider. His unwavering mission was to open the hearts and minds of his followers to the presence of God among and within them, to awaken them to an awareness of truth as an intimate relation and responsibility to God, but also to humanity and to the world. But to initiate such change within the context of an age-old tradition in which people were used to doing and believing things in age-old ways would incite division, even violence. One of the divisions he caused involved the Sabbath, a day in which Jews were to rest from labor and devote themselves solely to worshiping and praising God. However, in healing the disabled woman on the Sabbath, Jesus challenged this belief by showing that the worship of God requires doing good whenever the opportunity presents itself. Jesus said, "Everyone who belongs to the truth hears my voice." To which Pilate replied, "What is truth?" This is the probing question that Jesus answered not through powerful lobbies and privileged priesthoods who felt entitled to speak for anyone else, but rather through those ignored by the powerful and the privileged, such as the disabled woman who found no rest on the Sabbath until Jesus healed her. An unavoidable feature of every meaningful and loving relationship sometimes requires the painful sharing of unpleasant truths, hearing things that you don't wish to hear, and making adjustments for the sake of those you love. This is why the one we often regard as the Prince of Peace disturbs us when he says he came not to bring peace, but division. The path of peace God beckons us to follow, invites all, including those whose perspective and behavior offends us. God's path of peace therefore incites division and violence. God's truth will be seen by many as a lie, sinful and repulsive, because it goes against the tradition and compels them to think and act in ways for which they have not been accustomed or conditioned. Former Republican Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, in a national public radio interview, said that his party concluded after the 2012 elections that it had to appeal to a more racially and ethnically diverse segment of America. but then left that decision behind to follow the narrowly focused agenda of the far right within his party. But this is not just a focus of the far right. For election data shows that white Americans have favored presidential candidates that Americans of color don't like for over 50 years. In other words, the data suggests that the majority of white Americans are afraid of the challenges and the changes that will occur if a more racially and ethnically diverse America had its say. The resistance Jesus encountered in the synagogue concerning the disabled woman is no different from the resistance any community will trigger when their way of life feels threatened. Against such changes, they will draw lines in the sand, post signs, and build walls that announce no trespassing, not in my church, not in my backyard, not in my neighborhood, and not in my country. What is truth? Truth is a spiritual awareness of our intimate relation and responsibility to God, to humanity, and to the world. An awareness that is intended to foster a sense of peace and appreciation of our ties and dependency to all of God's creation. Yet by the very nature of its unconditional character of inclusion, truth is a spiritual peace that incites resistance and violence from those who prefer to see creation as a jungle where the physically strong survive and the physically disabled perish. The truth we seek to embody in our faith communities must therefore be sought in our secular lives as well, since both encompass the realm and reality of God. And only when we reconcile the union of the secular with the sacred will we experience a wholeness that breaks the shackles of our disabilities, sets us free, and grants us peace. I am the bread of life, said Jesus, and anyone who comes to me, I will never turn away, not even on the Sabbath. Amen.